Both been times, haven't we? So,
Yes, we've both been away for a bit. So, welcome everyone. I can see a few more people are entering the room, but we will get cracking because it is 1 o'clock and it is Monday lunchtime and it is Live Well Live with the lifestyle medicine team here at Boots Online Doctor. We're always thrilled to be here every week. This week we have a bit of a new format, so let's see how it goes. We wanted to give you more time for your questions because we seem to always run out of time to answer them all. So we wanted to give you a full session to ask your questions about weight loss and your journeys. I will start by introducing myself. My name is Dr. Samantha Wellapilly. I am one of the GPs here, leading the lifestyle medicine team here at Boots Online Doctor. I'm very I'm very passionate about a holistic health journey and that weight loss is part of a overall health journey. So we really want to look at all the aspects that will contribute to that making that journey a success. Even if we have had multiple attempts in the past and it hasn't quite gone according to plan, we want to really support you in overcoming any challenges you might be facing and to really use the evidence to guide us all on our way. And today I am joined by my colleague Ruth, who's going to say hello as well.
hi everyone. For those that don't know me, I'm Ruth Taylor. I'm the nutritionist with Boots Online Doctor, also a registered nurse and health and wellness coach. We really love meeting with you every week. This is your opportunity today, specifically. We are going to be coming over to you very shortly. We want to know and hear from you. We'd love to know what your questions are. We know that you can get stuck. We know that you can become confused. The information that we share is all evidence-based and comes with a whole load of research behind us. We're joined today by our colleague Adna, who's here to share any links or to support any IT glitches that we might come across. We also have an exciting opportunity from the marketing team at Boots. So just going to read what they've asked us to share with you. They've said we'd like to offer an opportunity to anybody interested. We're looking to feature real stories from people who've used the Boots Online Doctor, and they'd like to use those stories to inspire others and show how the service can support their health journey. If you're interested in being involved and want to learn more, then please click on the email that we're going to share in the chat box. There is no pressure at all, but if that's something that you're interested in or you'd like to take part, I know sometimes when you have a success story, there's nothing nicer than being asked to share what's worked for you. So that may be relevant to you. And if it's not, please just carry on and ignore. So we'll just start as normal by checking in with you. We had a whole webinar on emotional eating and really thinking about what that might be, something beyond hunger, the physical hunger, the leaning into. We had very interesting conversations around this last week. So your opportunity, how has the last week been for you? Did anybody get any sort of insights for themselves over the last week? Were there any quick wins? Were there any things you noticed? How's your energy been? We'd love to hear from you. Anything you'd like to share, we'd love to hear in the chat box. So do let us know.
Thank you very much, everybody. And the question and answer box is open, so do pop in your questions. We can get started with any weight loss topic you would like. We will do our best to respond with the relevant evidence-based answers for you.
To get you started, we've got a poll that we could share with you. So let's share our poll and see how that goes. So let's do that. Brilliant. So, really interesting, simple questions about how things are going for you, how consistent you've been feeling over the last week, what you found to be your biggest challenge. Always really interesting and might help us understand where to focus some of what we talk about today. And really, whether you've worked out what your why is, that deep seated reason for being on this journey. There is no right answer here. The polls are completely anonymous. We can see a flavour of who is answering what, so it gives us a bit of an understanding as to what's going on. we have no idea who is saying any of this. So it's just about you. It's your chance to reflect as much as anything else and to be thinking, okay, how has my week been? Has it been an okay week? Has it been a trickier week? Is there something going on in my life that's made it a little bit harder? I can see a few of you have had a less consistent week or a very inconsistent week. That's absolutely fine. It's really helpful just to know that, isn't it? And then to be thinking, okay, what was it that led to me having that less easy week, that less consistent week? And actually, the same number of people who've been very, very consistent have been not very consistent. So isn't that interesting? It's almost like a peak in the middle, perhaps, of about that 60% consistency is sort of like where a lot of you are hitting the middle ground. So that's really interesting and maybe quite normal. So, what's tripping you up? Stress seems to be one of the bigger factors. Cravings are right up there. No surprise. Cravings are just a nightmare for some people, aren't they? And I can see, Sam, that about 60% of people who have answered have actually really identified their why. So that's really good. And a
That's
few
great.
people are still working on it. So maybe we'll pick up on that and talk about these things. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about the sort of 80-20 rule, that we really like that whole 80-20 rule, and also just that consistency, what matters, what doesn't matter, the importance of not overthinking it as well, I think. And maybe a little bit about cravings and stress management because they seem to be really, really tricky for some people. But we will lean on your questions predominantly. But if there aren't huge numbers of questions, then we will,
We have lots to talk about.
yeah,
I don't think we need any help, do we?
exactly.
Okay,
I
right.
wonder if we should stop sharing and just have us on the screen then, if we're just doing,
Just go straight into the Q&As, that's fine.
yeah, let's do that. More fun. Well, maybe not for
Great.
everyone. Cool.
So,
So let's,
first question I can see is from in the chat box about a target weight. So this is a really interesting question actually because it's not going to be the same for everyone, and it is going to depend on our on our personal goals. What is our goal for our weight, for our body shape, all that sort of thing. There's lots of things that will play into that. I, from a medical point of view and from population studies, we look at having a healthy BMI is 20 to 25 for the average adult. So you can work that out. We can share a link. You can work it out. I believe it's Diabetes UK or the I believe have a calculator on the website. The NHS certainly do, and you can calculate your ratio of weight to height, and it will give you a healthy where you are now, and you can adjust the weight to see where you would get to a healthy BMI between 20 and 25. That might not be your goal. If it doesn't have to be, that is a good goal for health, a good sort of ballpark goal for health, but it might not be your goal, because it's a very personal thing, obviously, weight, and we don't want to say you must. There's nothing strict about this. But I hope that's helpful. I don't want to give you, I don't want to give anyone an absolute target that they have to reach. There's a range there that is within a healthy, which is the healthy range for adults that we understand. But your personal goal may be something a bit different and maybe something more. We would not advise you going below 20 BMI. That's probably the safest way to go. But you might not work in BMIs. You might work in dress sizes or waist sizes or the size of your jeans, and that might be a better goal for you.
yeah, and I think I would also add to that, just check in with yourself about how you feel. So weight is only one component, that how you feel, your energy when you wake up in the morning, whether you've got that zest for life, the bounce, whether you don't get enormous dips in the afternoon, whether you're eating in a way that can just maintain your equilibrium and make you feel great. Those are the really key things. And sort of like in terms of weight loss maintenance, that can be the other side of it. The research suggests that actually it's really difficult to maintain. So I think, sometimes hitting depending on how much weight you have to lose, if you have several stones to lose, sometimes losing a couple of stone and plateauing for a little while, and then taking the next day and having a plateau can be really helpful. So it's sort of about adjusting all of that around your own expectations and where you feel good as well. I think using the BMI chart is one part of it, but energy and how you feel in terms of your energy is just so important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've got someone asking in the Q&A box. It's much easier for us to see your questions in the Q&A box, everybody. So if you
Yeah,
do
yeah.
have
Use
burning questions, please do use this. We'll try sifting through the chat box too. It just might take us a bit longer. A question here about using the Coach app. So Boots Online Doctor do offer very reasonably priced coaching, if you ask me, which can be super supportive as you go along. So you would have a one-to-one meeting with your coach. The question is, how should I be using it? So you have a one-to-one meeting with your coach every month, plus there are other resources on the coaching app. I believe you've got what I think is really useful is you've got a group where you can go online and chat, and you'll that'll be moderated by a health coach. So you will have this opportunity to actually get that peer support that can be really helpful, like this group. But we can all support each other, which is fantastic. But we only have an hour every Monday lunchtime. But that facility is open on the coaching app for you to use if you wish to take that opportunity. It's a really helpful and supportive service. There's a nutritionist coach that can help you give you more personalized one-to-one guidance on your eating and your, planning your meals, etc. So I hope that's helpful.
Okay, brilliant. Somebody is saying that they find protein at breakfast quite challenging. Solution so far has been so to effectively ignore breakfast and have an entire and earlier lunch, eating the protein over the day. Is that okay? I think if that's working for you, if your energy feels good, if you feel balanced, that's absolutely fine. We're all incredibly different. So for some people, that wouldn't be the answer. They would really need to be thinking about that breakfast. And different people will give different recommendations. So it's about you knowing your body well enough and knowing whether your sleep is good, whether your energy is good in the morning and in the evening, whether you're having any dips in energy or cravings at any particular time of day. If you're finding that those things are happening regularly, like cravings or poor sleep, then have a rethink, I would say. But if everything is feeling quite balanced and you're feeling very in control and very happy with where you're at, and that you know that that is sustaining you, go for it. It's sort of like we are so much more individual than any book or any research paper can help us understand. So it's about us understanding ourselves as well, isn't it? And you
Yeah.
want to add to that, Sam?
No, I think as long as you think about your protein intake over the day, so that's we're looking at sort of 1 gram per kilogram that you are over the day, or 1.5 if you're active and building muscle. Um, splitting that over your meals over the day, and if you're having um, starting with lunch, that's fine. I would keep an eye on if you're eating late into the evening, if you're starting late in the day. But have a think. As Ruth says, we're all individuals and we have to work out a routine of eating and our meals that suits us and suits our lifestyle as well. So,
Absolutely. A couple of people here asking questions are both are plateauing, so this might be relevant to a few of you. Somebody is saying they've lost 6 stone in total and
wow,
taking a weight loss
well done.
medication, which is amazing. You know, not the amazing is the weight loss of 6 stone. I'm wondering whether you should start weaning your dose of medication down. That's a great question. There is no perfect time to know when to wean your medication down, but the research is beginning to help us understand that weaning off the medication can be a really helpful way of helping to support you to maintain that weight loss in the longer term. So, yes, at some point when you're ready, I definitely think weaning down is a good plan. You're on a 7.5 milligram dose at the moment, so you would go down to the 5 milligram dose. Absolutely, that would be fine. You wanted to still lose another 7 pounds, Layers, so you could still be working on that gradually, maybe following things like the core meal plan and Mediterranean style of eating, and really maybe thinking about checking that you're eating enough, that you're not eating too little. All of those things can really help, and also staying really well hydrated. So, really start putting that emphasis into the foods that you're eating and your movement to make sure that you're really working on keeping your muscle mass strong So that will really help in terms of that maintenance as well. Anything you'd want to add on that, Sam? I think that, it's a really great question and it's really good to know that people are doing so well. It's amazing.
Yeah, I would take the lowering of the dose slowly. Just go
Yeah.
easy on yourself because the medication will have been really helping you all this time. So step by step, just reducing and seeing how you get on with each lower dose. You could stay on it for, a number of months and see how you are. So it's not a sudden withdrawal of treatment, which I think can be quite hard when you're used to how helpful the medication can be. And then suddenly removing it can kind of be a little overwhelming. So just
Yeah.
gradually be kind to yourself. Um, and yeah, take it slow and really plan for it. Like, know that your appetite will start to come back, but hopefully in the time that you've been on the medication, you've really embedded some great new habits, which you'll these are neural pathways that you've laid down. So the more we repeat them, the more they become automatic behaviors and not things you have to think about. So that's not going to change as the medication goes down, but it is a matter of you continuing to reinforce them. And yeah, all the best with it. You've done brilliantly.
Brilliant. And somebody's also saying that they are taking weight loss medication. They've been on a medication for 3 months. They've switched medication now. They've lost 3 stone. To see if that can help kickstart another phase of weight loss. And there are often weeks that you stay the same. Don't worry if there are weeks where you stay the same. I know that's perhaps a little bit disappointing when you get on the scales, but also do things like measure your centimeters around your waist, around your hips, around your thighs, see what's going on there. Weight loss isn't linear. You're not going to have the same effect every week, and there will be changes. So some weeks you'll lose more than others. Some weeks you won't notice any weight loss. It could be you're asking whether you're maybe not eating enough. So one of the things you can do, and I don't know if you could share a link for the BMR calculator. So calculate your calorie requirements. There's a really great tool called for calculating calorie requirements called the Catch McCardle. So if we could share a link to that, that I find really interesting because the added benefit of that is it puts in your body fat percentage as well. So, and I think that's a really missing element of some of these weight loss calculators. So have a look at those, work out what your sort of average intake should be. If we're really active, sometimes we need to be thinking we need more calories. If we're very sedentary, maybe we have higher fat mass, in which case we maybe need less than those BMR calculators are suggesting. So it's really difficult. It will give you a range. So work out whether you're eating enough within that range. And don't just think about calories, think about the types of food that you're eating. So I don't know if you can share links to the core meal plan, protein contents of foods. That would be really good because I think it's really good to refresh our minds around the types of foods that are going to be beneficial to see on our plates, those that are going to love us back. So have a look at that. Oh, perfect. Great. Sam.
Okay. I'm just looking through. We've got loads of questions now, so just looking if we can group any together. Okay.
Great.
Well, I just wanted to mention on that last point about weight loss and how much we lose per week. Remember, we are really looking. We're actually not looking to lose weight any faster with the injections.
Yeah.
Okay. So whether you are using injections or not, we are still looking at we want to look at an average weight loss of 1 to 2 pounds a week. Okay. I know that to many of our ears that doesn't sound like a lot, but that the body is the same. Whether you're on medication or not, the body is the same. And when we start losing weight very quickly, the body panics a little bit and starts to really slow the metabolism a bit, because the body is afraid that we're in some kind of natural disaster and there's no food around, there's scarcity, and therefore your body starts to slow down to preserve calories. This is the theory that it is not a good thing to lose weight fast because it is fairly well established now that if we lose weight very fast, it can come back very quickly, and we really don't want that for anybody. So really looking at eating enough, which is so crucial, which someone highlighted there. It's so crucial, nutritionally, of course, but also because we do not want to be starving the body, because the body does not understand that we are on a concerted weight loss effort, it thinks that something terrible is happening and we need to conserve everything because otherwise we might not survive this winter or something like that. So really think about that. It is such a crucial part of this journey because we cannot bypass our physiology in that sense.
Yeah, such a good point. Thank you for bringing that up, Sam. I really think that's important. Somebody's saying that they aren't using the Boots coaching app. Is there another weight loss tracker? Yeah, we have the weight loss tracker app. So I don't know if you could share that app. And actually, they've started infiltrating some more information in that app, which should be really helpful as well for you on your weight loss journeys. So it's really worth taking a look at that. You can track your weight in there, and I think you can, they're going to be bringing on more and more resources. It's a nice, very easy to use tool. So have a go with that if you haven't already.
Fantastic. Yes.
Another
Someone is asking, I'm calorie counting, making sensible choices. I'm also trying to up my activity. Excellent. I'm worried about losing muscle mass and lowering my metabolism. What exercise is the best for muscle mass without bulking up? So let me just say, bulking up takes a really long time. So you are not going to do that overnight. So I would really be looking at, I don't know that your sort of ability to exercise at the moment, but you're looking for resistance exercise. So depending on, that doesn't mean you need to start going to the gym and, going on free weights and all of that. If that is not your thing, that is okay. Body weight is also great. You can do body weight squats at home in the privacy of your own home. Online, we've got so many resources now that are completely free. Joe Wicks does a load of things on YouTube that you could use, and lots of them are body weight exercises. Something simple if you like walking is to perhaps add a you can have a backpack with a few soup tins in the back just to give yourself a bit of weight that's evenly distributed over your shoulders, or even use something like a
weight.
weighted vest, which can be really good to if you like walking or you walk the dog or something like that. Having a bit of extra weight will make it into a more resistance training exercise, so you will be building muscle as well. Um, I know that some people use rebounder training if you want something different, just to support your joints as well and just get the body moving a little bit, those mini trampolines. So really it is resistance training, and that is using weight to support your muscle building. Bulking up takes a very long time, and really you have to put conscious attention on that. So don't worry about bulking up. This is really about using your muscles, building more muscle fiber gradually. Also, as a side effect, you will also be increasing your bone health as well and bone density.
And supporting your metabolism, which is really important. So what we know is that we want to maintain our muscle mass while we're losing weight as much as we can. So that's one of the things you can do to support that. I can see I'm frozen or you're frozen, Sam. So
You're back. We're
perfect.
back. We're back.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Somebody is saying that no matter what they're doing, however well they're getting on, one of the things they cannot overcome is the noise volume that they have around food and the fridge talking to them in the evening, sometimes at a crescendo. What can we do about that? Sort of like evening cravings, the voices telling us that we need to eat, the sort of that sort of very established evening habit, I would say.
What can we do? What
So,
are the things you can do instead? So how are you filling your evenings? How can you think of things that you enjoy to do in the evenings? Because I think we need to look at what that the fridge is calling you, and if you have that, whatever that snack is in the fridge, what is it giving you, and what is it giving you some sense of happiness and joy, which you can get from food, okay, but where else can you get that sense of happiness and joy? Where else do you find that? And I think I can't remember which webinar we've talked about having this self-care basket, having a sort of a list of things, or maybe write them on little slips of paper and put them in a jar so that you have a selection of things that you could do that also bring you happiness and joy that are not food related. So it could be anything. Like, what do you enjoy doing? Could it be ringing your friend or family member and having a good old chat and a laugh? Could it be I don't know, maybe you like puzzles, maybe you like crosswords, maybe you like a particular uh, I don't know, computer game. There's so many things, other things that could bring us joy. So we want to think about, because on a biochemical level, we're thinking about those reward hormones that are being set off in our heads when we have perhaps those snacks that we know that we're not meant to really be indulging in too much when we're on a weight loss journey. So, what else releases dopamine for us? What else brings us that happiness, that joy, that instant reward? So, it is a process of sitting down with it and what is it that we can do instead of? So we're not sort of sat there, sort of sitting on our hands, sort of stopping ourselves, and all we can think about is that thing in the fridge. We don't want to be in that position. We want to have something on hand that's easy, that is fun, that will calm us down, that will bring us joy. Maybe it's having a lovely bath, maybe it's, lighting a lovely candle and having, some kind of gentle
We've
self-care
got,
process at home. So
there's a
many things.
few great comments coming. So a couple of people saying they're painting their nails. That can be a really good distraction. Something else, taken up playing the ukulele, which is
Wowzers.
fun. So maybe actually, yeah, challenging yourself to do something like play a new musical instrument or learn a new language. That could be quite an interesting challenge and a really different sort of distraction. So,
Yeah.
also painting, jigsaw puzzles, we're all different. Everybody's going to enjoy something differently.
And
Um,
maybe sort of getting out of the house can be quite good if you're sort of sat, and the fridge is sort of humming just behind you. It can be
get rid of the
really
fridge.
difficult.
Get rid
Get
of the
away, get rid of the fridge. Get away from the fridge because it is just
um,
calling you, and that's no fun at all. So, at least initially that might be a good thing to do if it's really struggling. You know, I totally appreciate the
yeah.
situation. It's
It's
not easy.
maybe fill your fridge with some really healthy snacks. So maybe really treat yourself, make some protein balls, really easy to make and really simple, very filling, very delicious, actually. And just maybe we'll switch things around so you can actually have something. Maybe actually allowing yourself something healthy would be a nicer way than just saying, I can't have everything. If you keep telling yourself you can't have stuff, that it can actually drive you just wanting it more. So maybe actually just switch around or get some dried fruit, dried cranberries, dried cherries are delicious with a few nuts. So things that you can really reach for that aren't going to be doing a huge amount of damage would be really good. And also aren't feeding that sort of sweet tooth. So maybe that it depends what you're craving, obviously. People are asking how long plateaus are lasting for. We've had lots of comments on plateaus over the months and years that we've been running the webinars. So we know, and from the people we speak to on the Beats Online Doctor messaging service as well. So we know plateaus are very, very variable. And what the research says is there is no defined time for a plateau to last. And that's very irritating. I know when you're stuck and you feel like nothing's happening, it's really overwhelmingly frustrating. We know from comments from various people we've spoken to that for some people, they can go on for weeks and weeks and into the months mark. And actually maintaining that motivation and your ability to stay on track can be really hard. So those are the things like monitoring your energy, monitoring how great you're feeling, remembering the journey that you've been on, where you've come from, how much better you feel now that you've lost a few stone. All of those things can really help. And just remember, this is your body resetting. So it's your body actually working with you in a very different way. It's sort of resetting, recalibrating down your set point. So this may help you in the long run maintain that weight loss. So try and recalibrate in your head that this is maybe something really positive that your body is working with you. Anything else that would be helpful to add to those thoughts, Sam?
Um, no, I think that you have covered that. It's just, I would also add, you've mentioned it before today, Ruth, about it's not just the numbers on the scales. Remember, you can also measure your waist, think about your energy levels, maybe joint pain is reduced, your mood is better. There are other softer factors than necessarily the numbers on the scales, that we can look to give us that encouragement that we need when we want to go on. Because it might be that your dress size is dropping, but actually the numbers on the scales are staying exactly the flipping same. And so one thing is encouraging, the other thing is a bit of, well, it doesn't really matter, does it? I feel better in my body. So the numbers are arbitrary. I know that, we do ask for the numbers every week just to keep an eye on progress. But it's it's because it's that sort of empirical thing to track, whereas actually what's meaningful to you might be different. It might be your dress size. It might be actually I feel so much better in myself. I have more energy and I can run around with the dog or the grandchildren or what have you, to much more easily than I could previously. Um, let's go for another question. Someone's asking a good, healthy, balanced diet and making sure you're having at least two good meals a day. Um, but we do recommend taking a multivitamin also because we have an awareness that because your appetite is so reduced, taking a weight loss injection, that some folk may struggle to eat what they should be eating and getting all the nutrients they need in a day. So yes, a multivitamin is a good idea.
Somebody who's saying that they've now reached their target weight, and what advice do we have for them in terms of maintaining that weight and that nutrition plan? So we would say follow the core meal plan now. That is the thing that is not just for weight loss, it is there for life. It's about learning to love the foods that are always going to love you back and going to help you build a healthy body and to manage your appetite. I think those are the things really important. We know that hunger can be one of the things that creeps back in or can come back in with a vengeance. If you have reached your weight loss goal, you stop any weight loss medications that you're on. We know that that appetite can come back in whether you're on a weight loss medication or not. So this is part and parcel, unfortunately, of weight loss and your body almost working against you, trying to trick you back into regaining the weight. They see that as a safety mechanism. Our body's trying to keep us safe. So I think make sure you're really filling your plate with those fiber-rich foods. They can really help with satiety. You want half a plate of vegetables. You want to make sure you're nailing your protein at 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. That needs to continue. And if you're really struggling with hunger still, you can go up to 1.2 grams per kilogram. So see where you are with that. The other thing I think you could do if you're really struggling with that hunger is actually really think about maybe having a starter of some salad or some soup because that fiber can really make a difference and will help to inspire your own natural production of GLP-1. So those are the things you can do. It is about movement, it's about sleep, stress management. So all of the webinars that we run are really relevant for you when at whatever stage of your journey you're on. So whether that's losing weight, maintaining weight, or in the middle where you're having those plateaus and things aren't working, come along if you can. And if you've got the time, we'd be very pleased to see you and we will support you. And if you have any more specific individual questions, please do message in on your messaging service and we will do our best to answer them for you.
So, um, sorry, there are quite a few questions that have come in, trying to group them here. Right, there's questions here about weight regain after stopping a GLP-1. So the research on weight regain after weight loss are actually quite they're not unexpected, but because we know that with or without injections, without really looking at our mindset, our lifestyle, the choices we make around food, the way we manage stress in our lives, the way we sleep, it is if we don't address those, it is likely that the weight will be regained. Okay, and it's not an instant thing, it happens gradually. Okay, that is whether we use injections or whether we don't use injections. That is unfortunately the evidence over many years of looking at this. The good news is if you do address those things, the things that we talk about in these webinars every week. So we talk about making those, loving the foods that love you back, choosing foods like those on the core meal plan, really being consistent with changing old habits, with making new ones, with making the ones that are really going to make the difference long term, looking at our sleep habits, looking at our stress levels, looking at our cravings, looking at behavioral issues we might have around foods. when we truly look at this in a holistic way, we are far more likely to is just as important as the rest. Okay, this is where we put into practice everything we've learned during the acute phase, if you like, of the weight loss journey. So it's not something to be afraid of, it's something to be aware of. Okay, that we know that we need to make those changes to really reinforce the new patterns, the new healthier patterns that we are using during the acute phase, and we carry those on into the maintenance phase. And it might be that we have a new exercise habit. Actually, we're moving our bodies a lot more. Actually, we're adding weight, we're building muscle, and that's giving us a bit of a buffer because the more metabolically active muscle tissue we have in our bodies, the more calories or energy, the more energy we burn every minute of the day, whether we're doing something or not. Okay. So bear that in mind. And we all have our own physical limitations, let's say. So I know I cannot give one size fits all advice, but if we can build muscle, that's one of the things I would say is probably one of the most key things to that maintenance journey is having that muscle tissue that's going to work for us 24/7.
Yeah, great. I can see there's some really personal questions coming up in the chat in the questions, which are great, and really thank you for those. Some of them are outside what we can safely answer in a webinar scenario, but if you're a Boots Online doctor, um, patient or customer, whichever you term yourself as, please message those questions in to us and we will do our best to pick those up. Sam and I both go onto the messaging system so we can look out for your messages and we can direct them to other members of the weight loss team as well. So please do message. They're really important messages. They just perhaps sit slightly outside what we can safely speak to. It is a very generic webinar, so don't want to disappoint you, but I think we need to give you some really clear one-to-one advice if that's okay. Um, okay, how somebody's saying how to keep away from feel-good food under stressful times. By feel-good food, I'd love to know what you mean because maybe they're your sort of go-to sugar-rich crisps or sweets, or what are your feel-good foods? Are they biscuits? Are they donuts? Are they cakes? Are they sweets? Or are they apples? We all have different feel-good foods. So by those, I'm wondering if you mean the less healthy end of the scale. And how do you keep away from them? It's all about being prepared when things are really difficult, when you're under a lot of stress, is about making sure you're prepared ahead. Would you agree, Sam?
Absolutely. And the sort of snacks that you were mentioning earlier, making your own protein balls, having some nuts and maybe dried fruit on hand so that you don't reach for you know, the more sugary or high carb, high fat foods. Ideally, not having them in the house would be my suggestion. That I know that we all don't live alone, and there are other people in the home that you. And if you're on a weight loss journey, you know that as well. So it's difficult. It is difficult in the beginning, but then it becomes a habit because you start to appreciate different kinds of foods, different saying that these are easy changes to make, but they are slowly, they will, if you repeat them, these are patterns that will stick.
Very good. Yeah. Sorry, my Wi-Fi is being a little bit tricky today. So a couple of questions around food. Somebody's asking about maintaining blood sugar levels and how often to eat to avoid blood sugar crashes. So we'll pick up on that. And then somebody else is saying that they're eating only 800 calories and that's helping them to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week, but they can't increase their calorie intake. So I'd really want to get you back thinking about that core meal plan for both people, really and truly, and to be thinking about If we eat too few calories, then our basal metabolic rate can almost reduce to the level that our body begins to expect. So it can be very hard initially to increase your calories. So let's just work around that. If you're somebody who's got blood sugar balance issues, you're in remission from type 2 diabetes, then eating every 4 to 5 hours is sensible. You only need 3 meals. I would say 3 meals with 4 to 5 hours between those meals would be a great way to eat, as long as you're packing in that protein, making sure you're filling up on those low glycemic carbohydrates are a smaller portion of your plate, that you're really filling up on the sort of colourful vegetables, making sure they are half of your plate, getting those healthy fats in, just a small sort of thumb-sized portion of healthy fat with every meal. Those are the things that can be really helpful. Thinking about looking at a Mediterranean style of eating, so you're bringing in all of those healthy fats, all of the omega-3 rich fats, the oily fish, which I know lots of people really struggle to eat, but the olive oils, the olives, some avocados, some nuts and seeds, all of those things. Really think about health and inflammation, and blood sugar control is really orientated around all of those things. And for the person who is really struggling to eat enough, I would gradually just start looking at where those calories are coming from. If you're eating whole foods, then really think about, okay, with huge amounts of vegetables, they're very low in calorie, but they're very, very filling. Really think about your protein and see where you get to with that. It is really hard when your body's used to eating a very small number of calories for a long time. It is just an adjustment, but it can, once you've adjusted, your body will lose weight. When we eat too few calories, we almost go into starvation mode. So our body will retain our body fat. It wants to protect us. Our body is a very clever, it's very cleverly tuned. So it's there helping to protect us. So one of the things it may be doing is giving you a bit of extra protection that you don't want, obviously, but it just can't work out what's going on. So you need to retrain it. Anything you can add to that, Sam?
I would say just if you are on a medication and you're not able to eat enough over the day, then it might be that your dose is too high. So speak to your provider. If it's us, just send us a message and we can help you. It might be that a lower dose is better, because these drugs are not for you to go into starvation. That is absolutely what they are not for.
Yeah.
So please, if you are aware that it's injections causing that, speak to us and we can help you. And it might just be starvation. Your body's not afraid of that starvation state. Okay. Um, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Somebody is saying they're on a GLP-1, they feel great, they're following the cool meal plan, brilliant, great to hear. Started some exercise, fantastic, well done. Losing weight slowly, consistently, very good to hear. Worried about the regain, that the report is people will regain 75% of their weight. We've picked up on this already. There is absolutely, remember, research is based on large number of people. It doesn't look at the individual. So as an individual person, you have all of the tools and all of the skills that you are learning that will keep you in your weight loss stage. So we know that one of the things you have to keep on doing, you can't just take your foot off the pedal when you hit your goal. Do not take your foot off the pedal. That's the problem with weight journeys, with diets, with being on a diet, with that mentality of I'm on a weight loss journey, I'm on a diet. No, let's get rid of that thinking. Let's start thinking, this is my new lifestyle. This is the way that my body works best for me. And let's just tune into that way of thinking and maintain it once you've lost the weight you want to lose. And that will help you maintain. I know that sounds overly simplistic, but we know that actually you are able to maintain. You just have to get all of those little pieces of that jigsaw puzzle that is relevant to you in place. If you don't sleep, work on your sleep. If you're really stressed, work on your stress. If you have really awful habits of raiding the fridge, think about what you can learn to do instead of raiding the fridge. those aren't simple things to do. We're not underestimating how complicated all of that is, but those are your pieces of your jigsaw puzzle. Learn to eat the foods that will love you for life, and that will really help. Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, right. More questions. Ah,
When choosing foods like cottage cheese or Greek yogurt, is it better to choose full fat or fat free? I think during weight loss, we suggest maybe fat free or low fat, and in health, we would recommend with the fat. So maybe combine, mix it up a bit, see which you prefer and which hold you in terms of satiety and just feeling good.
mm. Someone has hit a plateau in a sort of familiar space. Sorry, I'm not going to go into all of the details, but you're on a weight loss injection. Um, I would say plateaus can be really tricky. Look at other markers, like we've mentioned before. Look at your waist circumference or maybe measuring around a thigh or an upper arm and see if that is changing. Think about your energy level, your mood, any joint pain, if those things are changing as you continue your healthy habits and as you continue to eat sensibly, as following the core meal plan, Mediterranean diet, low carb, low GI, that sort of thing. If you are sticking to that, you are reducing the inflammation in your body, you are supporting your metabolism. Hopefully, you are doing a little bit of activity as well to support your metabolism, maybe even increase your metabolic rate slowly, slowly, bit by bit as you build muscle. Um, I think it can be a bit of a mental block when you think, oh, I got to this stage 5 years ago when I did this diet or something. I was on a loss journey 5 years ago. I hit this point and I never managed to get past this point. So therefore, it might end up being a bit of a block in your mind as, oh, I'm here again. Oh, this is the point I can't get past. So just reflect on it without judgment, without harshness on yourself. But sometimes we can put in those things, those limiting beliefs, as people like to say, oh, this is my limitation. I've hit this buffer. But physiologically you won't have hit a buffer. The body doesn't work like that. I don't know where you are on your journey or what your weight is, but we know that the set point theory teaches us that we do have these sort of little buffer points where our body is just recalibrating to a new weight. It's we say we're 100 kilos, we lose 10, we're at 90, a bit of a plateau before recalibrate to a new healthier weight before it starts to move through. I realize that it can be frustrating, but this is a really crucial part of your journey so that you can maintain the habits that you've already built, the habits around food, around movement, around. We want to rewrite that story. Slowly, slowly, we can rewrite that story. And sometimes reflecting on it, looking at other parameters that other than numbers on a scale, which, are kind of Ruth, you have frozen. So I will go on to another question. Oh, she's back.
I'm
Okay.
back. Sorry, I didn't hear the last bit, but I'm sure everything you said is perfect. Somebody's asking about the 1 gram per kilogram of protein for body weight. Yeah, that is based on your current weight. So you would recalibrate it down as you lose maybe every half stone or stone. Just rethink, relook at that. Also, look at your satiety, whether you're feeling like your appetite is very satisfied. Really do that and see how you get on. Somebody's asking for a recipe for protein balls. I think we need to write one for you. I have got a few. Maybe we'll see if we can get something printed up that we can share. They're so simple. Just try Googling, have a look for things that contain things like coconut oil, nuts, cocoa powder, lemon, all of those things, utterly delicious. And we'll see if we can get some in print for you to share because they are great. Okay, someone's asking about water, why it's important to drink water while you're losing weight. The evidence suggests that if we're hydrated, we will lose weight, we'll burn fat, and if we're dehydrated, we'll find it much more difficult to burn fat. So it's a really good thing. Use your urine as a barometer as to how well you're drinking and whether you're hydrated. And obviously, it's independent for everyone. Some people may have kidney problems, in which case that wouldn't be necessarily that we wouldn't want them to overhydrate. So it's about you and making sure you're doing it safely for yourselves, I would say.
Absolutely. There's someone here who is struggling to set their why. They've lost 3 stone with injections since last summer, hovered around the same weight since January. After getting some pounds off, gained on a holiday, not unusual. Feels like you've lost motivation. Okay. Um, BMI is 30, not too far from your goal. Okay, great. I mean, generally, it sounds like you've done brilliantly, and maybe there's just a little bit more of your journey to go. So I would urge you not to give up now because you've done so well. Not uncommon to put on weight on a holiday. Um, and we do talk about this sometimes, and the it's the balance, isn't it, when we're on a weight loss journey between enjoying, and food is such a huge part of pretty much all cultures, right? We celebrate with food, we commiserate with food, we have so many rituals around food, and food gives us pleasure. And Ruth and I love food, and that's why we're both nutritionists, So we are very interested in food, and we don't want anyone to feel like they are being completely denied and have to be in some kind of food prison. It's not about that. It's really about understanding that we can change our taste buds, that we might have got into some really unhelpful habits over the years. That doesn't mean that we can never have a piece of birthday cake to celebrate with our loved ones. That's crazy when we would never suggest that. But we have to think about moderation, and we have to think about, okay, fantastic. We're going to a birthday party. We're going to toast with champagne, and we're going to have some birthday cake. Fine. But I guess what we have to think about is then, okay, so we're going to have really good, strong discipline for the rest of the week, and we think about this 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time, we're really good. We're really, disciplined is not a very glamorous word, but we're really like on track. We're really loving the foods that love us back. We're really, exploring different tastes, different textures, trying different foods from the supermarket, different vegetables. We're making sure we've got that fiber, that protein on our plates, and we still allow ourselves to enjoy. We think about times like holidays and things, which is like the prolonged birthday party, and we want to be a little bit careful. So it's about our mindset when we go into that holiday. Do we throw everything out of the window for that week, or do we still carry on? Do we still enjoy our food, but in moderation, and just enjoying with our family, with our friends, whoever we're away with, but we still have that self-care and that one eye on, you know what, I really want, this is my goal. And coming back to your question about your why, these are the times when your why is really important because it's your anchor to come back to, why am I doing this in the first place? And only you know what that deep motivation is. And what the sort of psychology studies have shown us is that having an emotionally linked reason, a motivation of why, what this means to me as an individual in my life, what it would mean to me to be able to fit into a size 14 pair of jeans or something, that is really meaningful to me. So, but why is that meaningful to me? It's kind of ask the question why. I would sit with this. Like it's not a for many of us, it won't be a quick answer to what your deep intrinsic motivation is. I use this example quite a lot of, well, why do you want to lose weight? Well, I want to not be out of puff when I play with my children. Okay, well, why is that important to you? Because I want to play with my children and I want to enjoy that. Maybe I don't want my children to see me being so out of puff when they can go for hours and I'm done in 2 minutes. That's important to me. Okay, why is that important to you? Well, I want, for this is an example, I want my children to, I want to be a good example to my children of someone who is healthy in older life. And I want to be able to be the best parent I can be. And that is a purpose and a meaning for me for why I'd want to lose weight, for example. So see if you can find your own reason that is really meaningful and frame it in a positive way. Frame it in isn't I would like to be X, the best parent I can be, rather than I don't want to be the sort of parent who has to sit on a bench while her children play for hours, but I can actually join in the football or whatever it is. Um, yeah, so I hope that's helpful. Frame it in a positive way. Really give your why some thought because this is an intrinsic motivator that can support you towards your goal.
Great. Brilliant. A couple of quick questions. So somebody's asking about body fat percentage, what sort of goal you should be thinking about. That's a great question. So depending on where you are, you want to obviously bring that down. For women, it is sort of like a body fat percentage of around 25 to 31% at the topper end of the level. So see how you go with that. People are asking about thoughts on taking fish oil capsules. Again, that's very personal. They can be beneficial, especially if you're somebody who doesn't enjoy eating oily fish or enjoy those healthy fats. But again, there are some medications that would be completely contraindicated in. So if you are taking medication, you need to ask a health professional whether it's safe to take it. If you're not taking any medication, then it would be fine to see how you get on with that. Um, Somebody is saying that they've had research that eating 800 calories a day for 2 or 3 weeks helps to kickstart metabolism, reset insulin production, and reduce inflammation. What do you think about it? So I think there is some research out there. It's very interesting. So if you look at the work of people like Jason Fung, he's a really interesting, I think I don't think he's an endocrinologist. He's a nephrologist, but he works a lot with people with weight management, and he looks a lot about around insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance. I think what the research says is you don't want to be on 800 calories a day in the long term. You can do a short reset. I think doing time restricted eating or doing alternate day fasting can be really interesting methods of managing calories in a very different way that can support weight management. So I haven't read anything that suggests that actually 2 to 3 weeks is a good amount of time. So I'd need to go and look at the research around that. But actually, you can reset your insulin much more quickly just by doing that time restricted eating, where you're eating maybe within a 12-hour window or a 14-hour window. Or you can do the alternate day fasting, which was very popularized by Michael Mosley, where you drop your calories down to around 800 to 1,000 per day. I think it's meant to be based on something like a third of your basal metabolic rate calorie requirement. So that's the calorie requirement you would have in normal activity when you aren't on a weight loss management plan. So around a third of those. So I'd say for most people, it's going to be around 800 calories as a minimum. They used to say 600 for women. They've changed that now to 800. So 800 to 1,000 and doing that a couple of times a week, that can really change your metabolism. Actually changing the foods that you eat can really make a difference. So if you're stuck in a rut and you're always eating the same foods, it's really worth just looking outside of the box and looking at what other foods you can bring in and bring that variety. So I hope that helps. People are asking for recipe books around GLP-1 specifically. Have a look at Mediterranean style eating books. There's some really great books out there. I think there are now some GLP-1 recipe books on the diet, but really you just want to be eating normal food. Sam.
Yeah, something you can maintain because this is hopefully this GLP-1 medication is not going to be lifelong. You're going to come off it and you're looking at this low glycemic way of eating or the Mediterranean diet using the core meal plan, which, you know, gives you the building blocks. You can add any herbs and spices that you like to any of those components to make it more interesting. Um, I know some of us will be more creative cooks than others, and cookbooks can really help us to give us inspiration, of course. But I'd be looking at a low glycemic index or Mediterranean diet
Yeah.
focused cookbook to give you some inspiration if you need some.
Yeah, someone's asking quickly about saggy skin. They're at a very healthy BMI, but have got some loose skin. I know that I was speaking to somebody in the skin team or a skin specialist in the Boots Online Doctor, and she was saying they have a cream that they can prescribe for this area around the neck that can become quite saggy. So that might be something to consider. Other than that, you want to be eating those high protein rich foods to bring collagen. Collagen may be something that can help with saggy skin, and also vitamin C and vitamin E. So things like, oh, vitamin E, you can get vitamin E oil, you can get vitamin E from some of the whole grain foods. So have a look at that core meal plan. That will really bring in those sort of different nutrients. That's it from me. Sam, do you want to take a last question? And I know we're going to disappear.
We got a last questions. There's questions about new formulations of GLP-1s coming in the future. You will be the first to know on the website. So I'm sure that if there are these different formulations, patches or pills coming, Boots will be looking at those very carefully, making sure that they're available in the UK, that they ought to be available to our patients. Keep an eye on the website. Unfortunately, I don't have any insider knowledge for you. Um,
Changing doses to fit travel plans. If you're a Boots Online Doctor customer, please just email us on the PIMS message on the patient messaging service. We'll be very happy to pick up that message. And there was something else that I thought would be helpful, but I can't see it. Um, Somebody is very, very thirsty. Again, let us know. Do message in if you're finding you're having some strange side effect. Don't struggle with it at home. Let us know. If you're a Boots Online Doctor customer, we're here to support you all of the way. Just to remind you, we are back next week. So let's just see quickly what we're looking at next week. We're going to be looking all about here, this is what we've got coming up. We're looking at stress, managing stress next week, sleep and appetite regulation on the 23rd, and the psychology of weight loss on the 30th. So please join us for those. We will quickly share the link with you to sign up for future events. I hope we'd be really interested if anybody's still here. If we can share the feedback link, Adna, that would be amazing because we'd love to know whether this sort of format worked for you. Um,
Yes, it's our first time at Just Questions, and that was great. Thank you for all your fabulous questions,
we're
keeping
really,
us on our toes. We're skipping around quite a lot of topics, but
really
that was
sorry that
great.
we didn't answer all of them. We just
Yeah,
really need to know whether this works for you. Proper comment in the chat box. We'll hang on for a couple of minutes for you to put a comment if you prefer, because we need to know, because obviously we want to do what works for you as well.
thank you, everybody.
Everyone. Yes, said Deborah. Okay, we like to hear that. But honestly, if it didn't work, then that's also fine. We just need to know. So
Yeah,
please do let us
absolutely.
know. We're very grown up, aren't we, Sam?
Yeah, we can take it. We can take it if it didn't wasn't your cup of tea.
Yeah. And thanks so much to Adna. And yeah, do let your friends know to come along to these webinars. We want to grow the numbers that come. So if there's anyone you know that would find this useful, do let them know. Really good. Have a good week, everyone. We'll be checking in with you next Monday. Really looking forward to seeing you then, talking all about stress and how to manage it. Thanks, Adna. Thank you, Sam. Really lovely to see you today. And take care, everyone. Have a good week.